Hey, whippersnappers, it's Tortimer the Great. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Pokemon Showdown Little Cup Battles. I figured with the end of the Little Cup Federation that we'd jump back into some of this stuff. We did a couple of episodes at the very beginning of Gen 7, but I haven't really gotten into the latter at all since the Gen 7 Little Cup metagame has started to settle a little bit. And that was real apparent as we were doing the Little Cup Federation, so it's like, you know what, I want to get back in here. I'm going to throw together a quick team of Pokemon that I'd like to try out a little bit more, and we're just going to see where it goes. So I've got some cores that I'm, intimately familiar with. We've got Boots and Dory and Ryobi, who are standard cores of one of my Little Cup teams. And then we've got Opala and Tika and Junimo here as well, just trying to give it, because if I'm going to get into the Gen 7 Little Cup meta, I really want to have some Gen 7 Little Cup Pokemon on my team. And that's probably not going to be the smartest way to go. I don't know that any of the Gen 7 Pokemon have really, risen above what anybody was doing before. And if they did, like Cutiefly, they got banned pretty much immediately, so honestly, I don't know if that's really going to work out for us, but I decided to throw together this team, and I wanted to get you guys' feedback on it. We're going to have a couple of wins and a couple of losses today, but again, this is doing some testing. This is just trying to get back into it and seeing where this thing's going to lie. So there we go, Dory finishing off the team there, and our first battle was a success. And so I'm like, alright, I'm feeling this. Let's jump into the next one, shall we? Here we go. Alrighty, this one's a little bit more of an impressive team for us to go up against. The other one had Caterpies and stuff on it, so I'm like, alright, this will be a good test. So Boots comes in, they lead off with their Frillish, and Boots finishes that off. I love doing that to Ghost types. Opala gonna come in, I'm gonna take some hard hits from Apom, but gonna get the Gunk Shot up, and then get it poisoned, which is gonna finish it off. So Opala doing some good work there, able to withstand an Apom, that's no small thing. Drillbur then comes in, Opala's going to come out, but they predict that switch, and Drillbur's going to take Tika out, so that's good for them. Dory then switches in and throws up the Scald, which is going to one-shot the Drillbur. Drillbur goes down, and then they forfeit. So we didn't get a chance to throw our team up against, Volibee and things like that, but the three Pokemon we did manage to deal with pretty easily are no small feat. I mean, those are pretty strong cores in the Little Cup meta. So yeah, we'll take it. I mean, I'm just showing you guys, like I said, there's gonna be some wins, some losses. I'm just showing you the first couple of battles that I did with this team, and then I want to kind of spitball with you guys and see where we want to take it from here. So let's jump into the next one, shall we? Here we go. Alrighty, we're up against Weedle, and they lead off with Pawniard. Boots is going to throw up the knockoff here, expecting the switch, which we do get. Pumpagaboo going to take that knockoff pretty well, and then switch out, bringing Pawniard back in. We get the knockoff going there, which gets rid of his Eevee. I know he doesn't have Choice Scarf, so the Sucker Punch is going to come, but we're going to be able to get that Brick Break off and finish off the Pawniard. So Pawniard goes down, at which point Diglett going to switch in. Diglett going to get that Sucker Punch off and finish off Boots. Tika then switches in, gets the Bullet Seed going, and is going to finish off the Diglett there. So we're avoiding the Sash. Diglett goes down, at which point Pumpkaboo comes back in. Tika is going to get that Bullet Seed and just finish off Pumpkaboo, because why not? Might as well let Tika do it as opposed to messing around with switching. Tika then switches in, brings in Ryobi. They don't predict the switch, so, or no, they do. They do. I was going to say, yeah. At some point, somebody throws a Thunderbolt up against Ryobi. We get the Rock Slide going, which does a little bit of damage to the Staryu. They throw up the Ice Beam. Dory's going to take that pretty nicely. Staryu switches out, and we're going to throw up the Volt Switch, which is going to have us coming out on the Mareep, bringing Ryobi back in. Ryobi throws up that Earthquake, finishing off the Mareep there. Then Staryu's going to come in. Ryobi comes out as Dory switches in. Lands another Ice Beam there, and then they're going to use the Scald here. I run Water Absorb on Dory most times because most people expect the Volt Absorb, so we can generally play that to the advantage. If they think you have Volt Absorb, then they won't use Electric type moves against you, and you might even get some heals for your trouble. We do get the Poison off on the Dwebble. Now here comes our first real challenge of today, because in this battle, and as we'll see in next battle, we don't have a lot on this team except for potentially Boots, who is already out at this point and usually goes out pretty early. Boots is kind of like my early game sweeper. I put Boots out and just let her do her thing until she's done. I either need to stop doing that, or I need to get somebody else on this team who can handle these kinds of tough opponents, because with these stat boosts, I don't have anybody who... I either need somebody with Sturdy who can withstand more than one hit, or I need to get somebody who can get a move out with some priority and finish off. Because Dwebble just comes in and starts wrecking the team, and there goes Dory. So, pretty close. We got him down to the one Pokemon, but that Dwebble was able to set up, and we could not do much to it. So, definitely a flag there. Something we need to consider as we tweak this team going forward. But let's see how we fare in the last battle for today, and then you guys can kind of help me make an assessment together. Alright guys, here we go. Alrighty, so up against Vitor and another decent little cup team here. Boots coming out with the fake out there. Ponyta going to flinch, obviously. The Fury Swipe's landing. This thing's got Berry Juice though, so it's going to heal back up. And we're not going to be able to finish it off with our remaining Fury Swipes. Boots going to take a Flame Charge there. The speed boost goes up, so I take Boots out thinking, okay, we might need him later. Bring in Ryobi, expecting him to withstand that hit a little bit better if I'm being honest, and he does not. So at that point I'm like, crap. I just sacrificed play one of my best Pokemon, so that was dumb. I probably should have thrown Tika in, or somebody who probably had a little bit less utility for me. Boots finishing off the Ponyta, switching out. But Boots, again, you know, that, and we have Shadow Sneak on Opala. Those are really our only priority on this team, so that's probably something else we need to consider, you know. Well, I guess that's kind of the same issue, is like, we either need somebody who can withstand more than one hit once we get boosts, or we need people who can come in with priority and finish, or stop sweepers in their tracks. Tuca is going up against this Chikorita and taking far too long to finish it off for my taste, taking some recoil and toxic damage, finishing Tika off there, at which point Elekid switches in, Junimo switches into that. Gonna take that Thunderbolt. I believe we get the Spore up here on the Elekid, so Elekid goes to sleep. He switches out, brings in Diglett. I go for the Strength Sap, expecting that switch. So that's going to lower Diglett's attack and heal Junimo up pretty nicely. And then we get the Giga Drain there, taking it down to the Sash, healing Junimo up once again. The Aerial Ace landing, and the Moonblast's going to finish off the Diglett there. So Junimo then up against the Shelter. This Icicle Spear, though, however, is going to finish Junimo right on off. And Junimo is going to go down. Sure, Junimo might be just carrying Eviolite. I honestly don't remember. But Boots then comes in against Munchlax. Munchlax is going to take a hard knockoff, get rid of its Eviolite. But Boots is going to go down to a return. So Munchlax is going to be able to come in, and Opala is going to throw up the Gunk Shot, which thankfully lands, finishing off the Munchlax there. Elekid comes in and is asleep. We go for the knockoff, which does really good damage to the Elekid. Then finish off with the Shadow Sneak. So Opala doing some good work here for us. Shelter then switching in, throwing up that Shell Smash. Opala, I think we go for the knockoff here. Yeah, just wanting to get rid of that Berry Juice. But it's got Eviolite, so that works out. But then Opala's going to go down to this Icicle Spear. Not defensive enough to withstand a hit, especially with a crit there in the middle. So Opala goes down, leaving us with just Dory. And then Dory's going to go out to the Rock Blast here. So another Shell Smasher coming in at the very, very end and sweeping through the remainder of our team. So yeah, we need something that can deal with that. You know, I think, you know, oftentimes Fumesy helps out with that quite a bit. I put Opala on the team because I want to try out Opala, and she did do some good work. So I don't really want to replace her, but I don't know that we should have both Opala and Fumesy. So let me know what your guys' favorite wall breakers are. Well, I don't know. Is that wall breaker the proper term? You guys know what I mean, though. Somebody who can stop the sweep. And yeah, I mean, if they're a Gen 7 Pokemon, best, you know, that'd be great. Otherwise, if there's another Pokemon that you guys think we should try out, I'd love to hear that too. And even outside of that role, if there are other Gen 7 Pokemon, because I'm just getting back into this. Like, literally, I haven't been doing anything off camera behind your guys' backs. I mean, outside the Little Cup Federation of the Gray version, I'm not doing any showdown battling generally. So, if you guys have some cool Gen 7 Pokemon, or Pokemon that are really good in the Gen 7 meta, I'd love to hear it, and we'll play around with getting some cool teams built. Most of the ones I did early on had like Cutiefly and stuff on them, and so those are now all kind of broken because Cutiefly's been banned. I may have even had a Sun team that I was trying out, but now Vulpix has been banned. So there's all kinds of things that you know, it's constantly in flux, so anything you do early on is potentially going to be up in the air. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Tortimer the Gray, and you guys have been great. Make sure those likes, comments, subscriptions for me, guys, and I will see you all back here next time. And let me know your feedback on what we should do to make a really kick-butt Gen 7 Little Cup team. I'd like to get some new teams built, or at least one new team for the new meta. A couple would be great, but I don't know if Gen 7 offered enough new things to really need to build several new teams for the new meta, but hey, we'll kind of play it by ear. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.